Closed there for a second, but it's going live shortly. It's taking its time. Just in case we're live and I don't know what I'm gonna smile.
Yes.
Okay, well it says we are live.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time you're watching this show. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jacqueline Cabot Harrison. I am the host for a Queen's Roundtable show and podcast. I am super excited about my guest today. We were, I don't know, we were scheduled to go on at some time in the past, and we had a schedule conflict, and now she's finally here with me on the show, and I am so excited to get into the meat of this and to let her share with you who she is, how, shall I say, who she is, who she serves, and how she serves them. But before we go there, just want you to please share the video out, tag a friend, tag a coach or consultant, because there's going to be some awesome information that's going to be shared on the show. And I want you to hear it. And I also want your friends, your family, your business associates, so on and so forth, your network to be able to also take this message in as well. So remember, A Queen's Roundtable show airs every Sunday at 3 p.m. or today we started a little late, but 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the purpose of the show is to help female entrepreneurs scale their business. So each guest provides valuable information to help you develop personally as well as professionally. All right, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to let Sandy Sanders introduce herself and tell you a little bit about who she is and her why behind her business and who she serves and how she serves them. Go ahead, Sandy.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I am so excited you all to be here. This woman has an amazing platform. I am definitely a huge fan. Sandy Sanders, CEO and founder of Coffee Conversations with Sandy and Friends. And what do I say? I've learned to be an author, got a couple of books under my belt. And for all of that, I'm just humble and grateful. I am so excited to be here. As mentioned, is that we do have a social media platform that is of conversation that we do, as well as one that is a platform that is tailored for what authors, visionary authors, anthology projects, solo projects. And then I really have this platform, Jacqueline, that I feel like when people are looking for a good book to read, that, hey, come on over to our table. And I'm pretty sure with our guests, you'll find a book that you want to add to your library. I'm a mom, I'm a nana, I'm a wife. By day, I am a sales administrator for a semi truck. And so I'm in the semi truck industry. So I do sales and finance. And so that's what I do. I'm a licensed evangelist. I serve in my church, amazing church here on the Gulf Coast, and do outreach ministry in our homeless community, domestic violence, and the other is that I find myself praying for our community. That's one of the things that God has commanded me to do, is to stand in the gap. We have such a high, I think all over the world, is a high increase of gun violence in our Black community. And we have now just have a burden to stand in the gap and pray and come together with law enforcement, city officials. So what can we do to keep our children and our elderly safe from gun violence? So that is who I am.
Wow. You are so humble. Aren't you a 5-time bestseller?
I am. Yes. Yes, and we as international, we with Make It Happen with Karen Cherry, became an international best-selling author. And the most recent book, I'm just so I can't even you know what, how they say you pinch yourself, but I pinch myself because Sheila Farr, excuse me, Sheila Farr had asked me to forward her most recent book, and the most recent book. So I just became another international best-selling author, as well as the forwarding author for that project called With a Joyful Heart. And I'm just, yeah, I think that one has really set the bar for me. When I say set the bar, my bar of gratitude to the Lord. Never in a million years would I have ever thought. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Wow. Wow.
Thank you.
I mean, that is really, really quite an achievement. I mean, all that you do. I mean, and I know you mentioned about the gun violence, and I do remember
Yeah.
seeing a couple of posts
Mm-hmm.
that you were participating in some events around that.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to, talk a little bit about that
Yeah.
as well. And I also know that you are an active member in your church community.
Yes.
And I know you also, I know you do your show, and you do your show. Is your show weekly?
It is weekly. We
Okay.
do every and we're finding is that individuals are seeking us out, and because the calendar is loading, we're making exceptions. So I'm so thankful, Jacqueline, is that I'm saying, okay, well, I want to squeeze in a time. I don't want to squeeze in. I want people to really have quality time, and quality time because we're there to serve. And for me to be sitting on the opposite side and you're interviewing me, I am just, how do you handle that when you're on the opposite side and you're always doing the interviewing? But this is, I have to step out of my comfort zone of being behind the scenes, so to speak, and be okay with getting interviewed because I am doing a lot. I do a lot, but when I say do a lot, I want to be effective. I want to be effective in my community. And you mentioned what we were finding is 2 years ago, just before COVID, if I can just go ahead and go into that direction of our conversation. Young girl, 16 years old in our community, some kids, four African black kids, and the girl was white. Okay, so I need to build you a picture. 16 years old. Yeah, they have been, gotten in trouble at school, but there's no reason why this child should have lost her life. Her so-called friends befriended her, and they call themselves want to rob her of weed. Okay, and a gun goes off. All of these 14 years old, 15, 17. The oldest was 19 years old. And the girl she died on the operating table because the bullet hit I guess an artery or something in her leg. And you hear tell of people that have had that gunshot wound in the leg, they literally die from it because they just can't save that person. And that's what happened to this 16-year-old girl. And my heart dropped because, okay, so she was a troubled kid in school, but she lost her life. And not only did she lose her life, you talking a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old, two sisters. I'm like, their mom, what is their mother going through? Then you have the two boys who are same age, 17 and 19. These kids are gone to jail. They're gone to prison. Their lives are lost. And so I was in a catch-22 when I began to pray. And it was like, and so the coast, there was a prayer visual for the young lady that passed away. And even the kid, I mean, and so I went to, I had to go. I told my husband, I said, I need to be at the lighthouse because we have this lighthouse on the Gulf Coast. And so I said, honey, I gotta go. I have to stand and pray with this family. And so I did. And from there became a burden for the community and for young kids. And so to fast forward, I organized a community prayer vigil for our young people. And anyone saw our show last week, the young man, Mr. Abra Taylor, he has a mentoring group for young Black boys, and so amazing. And he sent his team, his young people, and we had cooperation from the radio stations and all. And so they came out, and young people came out, and a young boy said to me, he said, "Miss Sandy, thank you for doing this for us." He looked to be about maybe 13 or 14. He looked at me, he said, "Miss Sandy, thank you." And what that meant to me was that these young kids want to know that someone has their best interest, their future, and that, so we did that, and went on. And so later, and I've, organized a domestic violence walk called Love Doesn't Hurt, but that's actually through my church, but was the chairperson over that. We did it 2 years, and successfully. And so COVID has come, but about a week, not a week ago, but about 2 months ago, it was August. I think it was August the 31st, July 31st, somewhere around in there, because I can't remember now. About a month before that, Lord said, "It's time for you to do another one." And I was like, "Okay, what is that going to look like?" And I didn't know what it was going to look like, but we kind of organized and got the information out. Definitely came up against some obstacles and challenges. But the week after that is when a young lady here on the coast and her baby, 6 months old, they were shot and killed by her estranged boyfriend. And I've gotten to know her mother. And so that's when I knew, Jacqueline, is that this is all part of my purpose, all part of what God has called me to do, is to stand in the gap and pray. I know that I don't have all of the legal knowledge and gun, the carrying laws and things like that, but God's got somebody else for that. Does that make any sense of what I'm saying? He does. I believe he has those individuals, such as law enforcement. You've got people who stand for the gun carrying laws and things like that. And they have connected with us, but God said, "No, your job is to simply stand in the gap and pray." And so that's what we do. That's what we do. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know the statistics, but I know that like probably every certain amount of seconds, someone or a young person, let's say maybe under the age of 18, is probably impacted by some form of, gun violence here within the United States.
Mm-hmm. I'll give it to you. In Harrison County alone, I have it up, is that Harrison County, which is where I live, the gun deaths rate is 16.71 per 100,000 people. Now, statewide, we have 24.2. And so if you take the whole state, there's 24.2 per 100,000. It says that although our county is lower than the state, and you allow me, I'm going to just read the stats, that it's higher than the national rate, which is 11.86, according to the website of Educational Fund and Stop Gun Violence. But mainly, this is the key: 15-year-olds to 34-year-old Black males suffer firearm homicide, the rate of 10 times higher than white males of the same age. So guns, where we were saying that Black boys and Black men are being arrested at a much higher rate than the Caucasian or the Mexican, now that rate, young Black males are getting killed by gun violence or by a gun. Now, whether it's a police officer or whether it's someone, they're in a drive-by shooting or over pair of sneakers. A pair of sneakers. Mm-hmm. So, yes, we must do something. Yeah.
Sandy, tell me again, where do you live? What state are you in?
I'm in Mississippi. I'm on the coast. I'm in the state of Mississippi, in a city called Biloxi, which is, there's cities that people hear of Biloxi, which is military, Gulfport, which is military, and then we have Pascagoula, which is your shipyard area, very famous, known for the shipyard industry because they build the big, aircraft carriers and for the military. Yeah.
Okay. So Mississippi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's awesome that you are doing this, and how you mentioned that 13-year-old came up to you
Mm-hmm.
and said, I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah.
I think that in itself speaks volumes, you know. Um, and just to be able, like you said, this is part of your purpose, and this, along with all of the other awesome things that you do, working on, the gun. Now, let me ask you this though, before I forget. Now, are you working with any of your local leadership? Like in any of the representatives, or maybe your local police department or something like that as well?
We've connected with the Gulfport Police chief of police, and he has agreed to meet with us so that we can come together and partner. That is in Gulfport, and we're waiting for that meeting to take place. He definitely did call us and connected via email. And so we're excited about that. And then also in Biloxi, we have a task force that has been put together, and I was recommended to be a part of that task force. So we're waiting for that meeting to take place. So and then we have judges that the Lord has connected us with. We have 2 female judges that support whatever we've done. And then, of course, I want to put her name out there, is Dr. Yolanda Jerry. Dr. Yolanda Jerry, no matter what I do or what I'm involved in, and that is her passion, which is domestic violence. And she has been a supporter from day one, 2, 3 years ago since we've met. She's been at our walks. She's made sure that her team is there, women that are part of her organization, empowerment, and she's empowerment advocate. And then whenever we did the prayer walk, the prayer vigil just a couple of months ago, Dr. Jerry was right there. And so collaborating is really big because that you can't do it by yourself. And that's one of the things I said, okay, Lord, well, I'll stand and pray and I'll just send all of them other people. Okay. And that is what he is doing. I can be silent and be back there praying, and I can see the hand of God just be moving. And so sometimes you just don't always have to be out in the forefront, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful. And I say her name for a reason. She's a dear friend and supportive, and I just love her spirit and her desire to see women be empowered. And when we cry, she cries. And that's what we're supposed to do. When one hurts, we hurt. When we feel our sister, and you have this amazing, the Queen's Round Table, and just to come and share, I'm just so thankful.
Well, you know what? I'm thankful to have you here. I'm thankful for all of the work that you do.
Thank you.
Let me just take a moment to let the audience know. Thank you again for joining in for another episode of A Queen's Roundtable Show. I also want to encourage you to share the broadcast out, to show us some, give us some comments, some questions, emojis, whichever, let us know that, that you're hearing us, that you're there with us, and that you are, also a supporter, and also understand the importance of the work that Sandy is doing. So I wanted to kind of shift a little bit. Now, in terms of your show is called Coffee Conversations with Sandy. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay. So how did, and I think you touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but how did that come about?
Okay, so about 3 years ago when everybody doing Facebook, right? And I would send out these messages. We would just send out little messages in our scriptures and just words of encouragement each morning. So I would send this, and I am a coffee lover. I love the aroma of coffee. Just coffee in the morning, coffee in. Ooh, I think there's a song like that too, right? Coffee in the morning. Yes, okay, I did. I listened to it. But yes, so I would be listening. I would just, when I travel, I buy coffee, Starbucks lover. So it's so funny. So I would buy a coffee cup no matter what, and I'm a thrifter, so I love going to thrift shops. So I just begin to collect all of these coffee cups. And I said, okay, so I'll do a page, and I would have pictures, scriptures, words of inspiration, your affirmation for the day or whatever. And I would slap a cup of coffee right by it and make my own little pictures. This was like 3.5, maybe 4 years ago. And I begin to see people do, the Facebook lives. I said, okay, they getting on, like, you okay? So this went on for maybe about a year. And then when I finally got the courage, I talked to my spiritual daughter. And before that, so I make this page, and it's called Coffee Conversations with Sandy and Friends. So, we put it out, and our community grew. And I said, okay, well, we got to do something more with it. So I would do these individual Facebook lives. But then I wanted to begin to bring other people in. And it was my spiritual daughter, who is a chiropractor, and my dear best friend, who is an IT specialist. I said, you all, let's go ahead. So I said, let's do some Facebook lives. Okay. And they were just like, okay, we'll do it. How do you want us to do it? But backing up to that, I got my courage because of Success Women's Conference. Everybody knows about Success Women's Conference with Kern Crockett Cherry and Miss Dorothy and Miss Tiffany. Well, they have been having, I'm on the coast with them, and they have been having this women's empowerment conference for many years. And this was up to year 9. And I never went. I've been on the coast for 12 years, and I never went. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I didn't think I had it. I didn't think I had, as I tell people, that I didn't think I had the what to bring to the table. I didn't think I had anything to offer. And that was because of my low self-esteem. It was because of, you're not going to be this, you're not going to be that. And all of those negative words was in my head. That was my weight. It held me down. But on that year, that was the year that Yala Van Zant was the guest, and Dr. Gloria Mayfield Banks, and of course, Dr. Sherwood. Those were the main guests. And Karen is a mentor of mine. And she had been saying, come on, Sandy, come on, Sandy. I don't know, Karen, I don't know. But all inside, she didn't know. I was just like, I can't go around these women. They are just too powerful. I would look at the graphics and stuff. And that's why we can't get caught up. Yes, the graphics and everything is amazing. But sometimes if you're dealing with self-esteem, don't let that hold you back. You're worthy to go. That now we learn that's part of the branding. I didn't understand that, Jacqueline. And I just felt that I didn't have it. I couldn't bring anything to the table. Where would I fit in? That was me talking to me. And how if I knew then what I know now, it stopped me 2 years early. But God's plan is always perfect, don't you think? So I went that year. But here's what I did. I volunteered. I was looking for Karen kept saying, okay, here, you can just volunteer. And I would get the emails. And I said, oh, okay. So I would tell the girls, I said, listen, we're going to Success Conference this year. I don't care. I told my spiritual daughter, I'm going to buy you a ticket. And she's like, what? Because she's a mother of 4 children, run a business, a chiropractor the whole night. I said, I'm going to buy you a ticket and you're going to go. You need a rest. We need to do. And then my girlfriend, I said, you're going to go too. So 2 things. I sewed and then I served. I sewed and I served. I served as a volunteer. I didn't even use my own ticket because I volunteered. But my volunteering got me where I needed to be to hear what I needed to hear. And went to all of those. I went to the lessons, sat in the main classes, met people. And I tell you, Jacqueline, I walked away from there so fired up. I am a product of Success Women's Conference.
And
This
wait, let me,
is
what,
why
and what year was
they
that?
have this conference. The year I went was in 2019.
Okay.
That was the year that I went. And my life has never been the same since. And I'm about to tear up because I know that what these three women did and have been doing, this is the reason why they do it. Not just to attend a conference, not just to be there, but to, and of course I had to learn how to do it. But I often say it was because I said this was the, and I kind of laugh. I say, yeah, I just really wanted to go so I could see Iyanla Vanzant and Gloria Mayfield Banks. I mean, I say that as a joke to myself because, it was I was like, oh yeah, you get that way. And all the time, God had a complete, total different purpose. And I was shaking in my shoes the whole time. But then I had to realize, and yes, ma'am. Yeah. And that's how, so Coffee Conversation became a talk show out of the three of us coming together. And then out of that, I had become an author. And then Book Talks with Sandy was birthed. But it physically didn't come into fruition until last year. Yeah.
Till last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So, but that's one umbrella, right? The Coffee Conversation.
Coffee Conversation. Coffee Conversation has been on for 3 years now. We've actually been doing live, the page, and everything for 3 years. Book Talks with Sandy is, and so we're looking at, do we need to separate the two? So we're looking at that right now, but it's still coming under Coffee Conversation.
Wow. I mean, I think that's how we became connected was through Kern, I believe.
It is.
And I have to admit, I'm trying to remember, how did I become I think what happened was,
Were you a speaker? Were you a speaker?
Yeah, yes. But even before that, Kern participated in one of my symposiums. And I don't remember knowing who she was at the time or initially, but I soon found out. So she participated in the summit, and she was just amazing, very humble, had just brought a lot to it, and and was very willing and open to, give some advice. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean in a sense of that I feel people should just, give their knowledge away, all their expertise away, and, and people should pay for it, and, think or saying that people shouldn't pay for it. I'm not saying that at all. I could really tell that she was really about the true spirit of, women's empowerment.
Yes.
And if I could offer a kind, encouraging, informative word to someone, another woman in business, I'm going to do it, and that's what she did, and it was kind of out of nowhere. And I was like, wow, she's really on point, because, oftentimes you run into so many people, and not all the time, but there are people, and especially in this online arena, that they pretend to be something that they're not. They put these different posts out, and they, say that they're about women's empowerment. They're about, helping other women.
Yes.
For all of us to come up together and things of that nature. But then when you talk to them, it's something totally different. But with her, I really felt a true genuineness there about her really wanting to see other women, win. Her wanting other women to, like yourself, to, come out of the shadows, come on up front, you got something to say. you know, because we all do. We all have a story, you know, because I know there was a time that I felt like I didn't have anything to say or anything that could help anybody, anything worth somebody listening to. There was a time that I felt that, you know. So yeah, so that was how I first was introduced to her. And then I participated in Level Up, her Level Up, and then I did the Power Up. So the Level Up was the first conference that I did with her. And I mean, that was an awesome experience. I mean, you know, it's definitely something that I would want to participate in all the time. And the only way that I wouldn't is if, you know, for like monetary, you know, issues, like if my money's going in a lot of different places. But other than that, that's definitely something that I would do, like every time she has the conference, you know, and I would definitely
because she
recommend it.
over-delivers. She over-delivers. And of course, I didn't know what that term meant. And so we're using the term your expectation. You're going in, you're signing up to be a speaker. And all of a sudden, you're on speaker tour, you're on book tour. And that's what happened with us in Coffee Conversation with Sandy. This is how and this is part of me now as a speaker. Kern said to me, we were in the book. I went ahead and said yes to Trailblazers Who Lead. And that was Trailblazers Who Lead 1. And now we know that there's going to be a Trailblazers Who Lead 2. But she and I were talking, and she said, Sandy, you have a show, the authors, we want to take them on an author tour. And I said, I do. And I was like, well, I do. And so I laughed. I said, yes, ma'am, I do. And she said, okay, so we're going to book the authors. And she said, well, let's put a show together. And my confidence, I use the diagram. So my confidence is here. I'm doing lives and all it is, but Karen took my confidence level up to hear you all. And that's how it is that I now speak. Do not despise your small beginnings. Do not despise them. Don't think that because you're getting on and you're doing your lives, you may see 1, you may see 10, you may see 20, you may see 0. Don't despise it, because why? You never know who's watching. She had been watching me. And you and I and many know, we know, all of us that know this amazing woman, and Miss Dorothy is the same. She's pulling, you know, and Miss Tiffany, those 3 women, God has placed them in the earth to empower women. And I know that there's many others, you know, and I would even say your platform and in that caliber, you're making a space for us. And so when she did that, and we look back, and when I hear her say, I'm so proud of you, that's that little girl in me that was a damaged little girl, that's, you know, was a molested little girl, that was the promiscuous teenager, you know, didn't know what love looked like, was mishandled. And yet here we sit now. I'm like, oh, that's the little, when they say I'm proud of you. And I have to go back to the little girl in me and say, see, we did good. Jacqueline, and there's many women that have stories like me. So I know now I'm not alone. I don't walk in a lonely space, because there's many of us, and I honor you that you call us queens. You have a platform that says queens. And if we only knew our value.
Yeah. And you know, and that's why I started Realizing Your Potential, is because I wanted us as women to realize our potential. I wanted us to, you know, people call it and say many things that, you know, put your crown on and, you know, take your throne, or, you know, things of that nature. But I wanted us to realize the power we have, you know, because a lot of times we, you know, have these very, you know, these, as you say, damaged, you know, backgrounds. Like I know I came from a very dysfunctional family, you know, substances were involved and things of that nature. And for us to really, really look at ourselves and understand how powerful we are,
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to shine. And I don't want to get too much off into that, because I know sometimes I get a little excited because the point is I want women to be empowered. I want them to understand that they have everything within them that they need to do whatever their heart desires.
Yeah.
That it's not you on the outside looking in, cheering everybody else on, but never thinking that you can do it, or never thinking that you're worthy. And that is so not the case.
Yeah.
So I want to give you an opportunity to, well, a couple of things. I'm just trying to keep a check on the time. And I say that because, people that know me know that I get excited, and I'm a therapist by nature, and I thrive. Huh?
I said you are. You're a therapist by nature. Oh, yeah, we could have a dialogue. We could just talk on and grab that cup of coffee. And yes, girl, we would just be going
right. And we both like coffee.
Oh my goodness. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And the thing is, like, when to me, it's about the connection. And when you get to flowing, something may come up and, we might really be vibing on that. You know what I mean? And I like to give an opportunity to talk about it, and I don't like to be real scripted. I don't like to feel rushed. Me too, because I want to make sure that we can upload it to the network, I have to be mindful of time. But yes, I want to make sure you get an opportunity to talk about your topic.
Okay.
And then I'd like for you to also share. And again, I know you touched on bits and pieces, but what obstacle would you want to share with us? And just to let the audience know how you were able to, let's say overcome it. I struggle with what word I'm going to use, but how you didn't allow it to keep you stuck, and not believing in yourself.
Yeah, I got it. So as you were saying is that we have book talks with Sandy. And I think that's what we're going with. Book Talks with Sandy, Coffee Conversations, those two platforms that despising not small beginnings, because you never know who's watching. And we used to get, I myself, along with my spiritual daughter, and which is Dr. Katanya Ford, and Alexa Credo, we would get up every Saturday morning. And because in my head, I didn't know what it looked like for people to come around a table. And this all is before COVID. So we would get up. I would get up every Saturday morning as if I was going to a job. We did this consistently every Saturday morning. And even with my spiritual daughter, there were times, of course, having 4 boys and a new baby. And there were times that it was just Alexa and I, because I understood and knew. And time is also very, very important, because you want to make sure that you allot enough time. If you're about to enter into this virtual world, which Jacqueline and I probably know, and she knows better than I, is that I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. If anything, it has been around before we were doing this, and it is elevating even the more. I'm not in a speed race, but yet God is, He's giving me instructions. He's placing me around individuals and people that will enhance what I do. I humbly say I'm a brand, and didn't understand what that was. I didn't know, and so I didn't understand that. And so now I'm learning is that, yes, Sandy, you have no idea how much you influence people. And just by saying, don't despise those small beginnings. If it was one show, so consistency is so important. And I know I could be talking to the choir, as they say, but I believe that your show reaches people that, all over the world. And so what would I say to where we are now? Y'all see the sign behind me that says, welcome to the 60th. I turned 60 years old this year. And I realized today is that I am probably living not my best life, but I'm living a good best life, if that makes any sense. I now can see the fruit of my labor, and my heart, I believe, is in the right place. When Coffee Conversations, out of that, and then Kern saw what I was doing, that's why I say you never know who's watching. You never know. What did she do? She invested into my show. Why? How? She would allow us to be a sponsor at her major events. That's how we became a global individual, how our platform became global, because we became a sponsor of the two major conferences. I was also invited to be a moderator for the Success Conference when it went viral, and when it went virtual, that's over 10,000 plus people, or 17, I think they went to 17,000 in just a 3-day period. So what has it done for me? It's opened up doors virtually. And what is my responsibility is to open up other doors for other individuals, because I know what it's like, and I've yet to accomplish what God wants me to accomplish. There's things on my list, Jacqueline, that I want to do another prayer ritual, but I know that things like that. Then there's the opportunity. Yeah, we do. I wanted to do Clubhouse, and God said, no, that's not for you. I do Clubhouse. I moderate, and I am part of a team that we do an affirmation under visionary author Nadia Francois. And so we do a morning session on Clubhouse every morning. But God said not to do that. I'm not ready for you to do that. You're to do a podcast. And so we do have some things that are happening in the month of October that we're going to be releasing. And so I'm so excited about that, because that's the evangelistic side of me. That is, because ultimately it is to, as we, Jacqueline and I both have our purpose in the earth. And our purpose in the earth for women is to, yes, empower and to lead you to your destiny. And ultimately, it is our faith. It is our faith and our destiny in the Lord Jesus Christ. And not ashamed. And that's what my goal is. And so the evangelistic side, you all will be able to hear and get to know me as a minister, as a one that knows that there's another broken woman out there, and how she can look at me and hear of me and know that I was once broken. Have I had some down times? Have I had some broken situations in my family and in my life? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I've learned how to get up and dust myself off and know that someone is waiting for me. And I'm not, we're getting close to that time, but someone, and so that's when my challenge has been to be consistent. When I didn't feel like it, I didn't know what I was going to talk about, how I was going to articulate and move behind the scenes. So one of the things is that I've had to reach out to my cousin, who is amazing. She and my cousin is now my assistant. And so, because I need somebody to keep a calendar together, and we say, okay, when you're growing, yeah, you can't do it all by yourself, girl. And so, yes, my assistant and we work together as a team. She keeps me going, much needed. And so she keeps my calendar together. And listen, if I don't follow her, she's like, okay, how are we going to put these two people on at the same time? And I said, we're going to work it out. We're going to work it out, girl. But I love her. Thank you, Michelle, if she's listening today. And I want to give kudos to Swag Her Magazine. They are our sponsor. And we picked up a sponsor. I think that's, yeah, you and I were part of the same family. Yes. Whoa, that girl that has opened up. Yes. And you talk about open up doors. We did yes. All I can say, to God be all the glory.
I wanted to acknowledge, and the thing with StreamYard, just depending on what platform they're tuning in from,
yeah.
Sometimes the comments may not show while we're going live. but we
Yeah.
still want to acknowledge you.
El
So
Renee.
you have Renee Richardson here.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you for
She is,
tuning in.
yes, she is an amazing woman of God, a powerful woman, has an amazing group of women out all over the world, basically. And so we'll be sharing at her conference in October. Actually, I'll be doing an in-person speaking, and we'll be sharing a book, one of the books. And so, yeah, thank you, sis. Powerful woman of God. Her mother just passed away, and so honorable woman. And yeah, so she's going through the foundation of her mother, who Dr. Laverne Taylor. And so, yeah, so we honor her mother today as well.
Well, thanks for joining, sis. So I want to go ahead and make sure that, okay, I don't want to miss anything. So we've talked about your show. We've talked about you being a best-selling author. We talked about some of the obstacles that you've, dealt with or overcome in the past. And I just want to go double back to your topic and say that you are absolutely right. And sometimes it's challenging. It's not always easy. When you show up, sometimes other people don't show up. You know what I mean? But you have to keep doing it and, and not give up. And sometimes that is challenging, because you feel like, oh, what am I doing? And am I supposed to be doing this? I don't have the likes, I don't have the viewership, so on and so forth. But just keep going. Keep going, because like you said, you never know who's watching. And even if you reach one person, just one person, if you will, then that's the person that you were supposed to reach at that time, and that they got your message, so I appreciate you for saying that, because I think with social media, and I'll always end up talking about this, but I think with social media, people are able to show a quick snapshot, of their life. And it's very easy to kind of buy into that sometimes, and think that people don't struggle, or to think that, people are happy all the time, but the bottom line is that's crazy. You know what I mean? Nothing is always smooth sailing. I mean, even Lisa Nichols, probably has a bad day every now and again, or, put something out and maybe didn't get quite the, response she wanted it to. And, because we're all learning, we're all growing.
Yes.
That's the way it is. That's the reality. That's the reality.
Yeah. And I agree with you, is that's where you're letting our audience know, your audience today know, is that I've experienced that for sure. Is background. My husband works from home. My husband is an avid football player. He is one. He yells at the TV, and I'm out all those bleeps and all of that, and I have to say, hey, hold on, wait a minute. Then I have to close the door. Then I have to run. And then we got this. And then I got my grandson. And then my grandson. And then he loves his Hot Wheel cars. We are the reason for the Hot Wheel cars. Then and then I'm running. And then I have a 9 to 5. Okay. I have yet to graduate, and I've got some plans that, how long do I want to do this? And for right now, we're seeing that it's making an impact. So I'm happy where I am. And I'm just excited to get to know all of you. You and I have connected. I love your spirit. And what you are teaching me, and it just reminded me, we have to have a balance. Oh, do we have to have a balance? Jacqueline, you dance. And yes. And when I see you, and I'm like, oh, look at her. I like the way she moves. And I wish I could move. Now I can move. So let me tell you what I did. And then we're going to hurry up. I went to my grandson's football game last night. Well, no, it was his band competition at the football stadium. And they were doing a song. And I was sitting beside my daughter's boyfriend, because he came to pick up my son. And my son's a high schooler. He's 10th grade tall. And over the stadium thing, they was playing this song. And I was like, okay. and it was the cha-cha slide. Okay, you all, don't judge me. But I was sitting in my seat and I said, I'm getting too old. Listen, why am I going to worry about what other people think? And I told her boyfriend, I said, okay, RJ, I said, you never knew Miss Sandy could dance, did you? And so I'm learning to laugh. I'm learning to enjoy myself, and yeah, my husband, he said, because I went through the hormonal period where I was grouchy, I was angry. You see this face now, all smile. Ooh, but yes, like you said, getting to know other people. There was a side of me during the beginning because I was being so frustrated. It wasn't working this way. Didn't think I had the support. And so it comes across in your health, it comes across in your face. And then you just, yeah. And so I had to learn, I did, is to learn to have a balance, learn to love, learn to laugh, and know that you just be yourself. I had to remove the mask. Lord have mercy, did I have to remove the mask? And there could be a season that I'm in that's now, but I've had that season that I was all masked up. And because of that, I wasn't able to reach my sister. I wasn't compassionate. Does that make, because I was so consumed with my own self. And I know that right now I feel like we could go in that conversation, because that is what we need. We need to know that, Jacqueline, if you ever need me to serve, I'm here. Sandy, if you ever need me to serve, I know you're there, girl. That's what we need in your platform. What you bring to the table, what you bring to the table for us. We need this. We need what you have to bring to the table. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you here, Miss Sandy. I really am, because we have connected, and we're going to continue to connect and continue to collaborate. I'm so thankful for you that you've, come into my online life. And hopefully maybe one day we'll meet in person. But we're going to get ready to close, everyone. So again, make sure you share the broadcast out. Every Sunday we're here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to be on the show, click the link, apply to be a guest. If you want to be a sponsor, click the link. If you, just want to chat it up, click the link. But I'm going to go ahead and in 2 minutes, if you can tell everyone where they can find you, and if you have something coming up that you want people to participate in.
Okay, awesome. Yes, Sandy Sanders, Coffee Conversations with Sandy and Friends. Just go on over to our page, like the page, and every time, because you like it, whenever we go live, you will get the notifications. So that is Coffee Conversations with Sandy and Friends, and that is where you will know when we do our book talks with Sandy. We do that every Saturday afternoon at 3:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. You now will begin to see me every now and then. I'll do a book talks with Sandy Sunday conversation. Do I have anything major coming up? Yes, I do. Come next Saturday, the Best of Mississippi Awards. We are up for an award. Coffee Conversations is up for an award. We're so excited, so humble, and so thankful that they have found us to be up for Social Media Influencer of the Year. And so I'm just so thankful for that. So just listen out for it. It is here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. It will be virtual, but we're also on Business Empowered of Mississippi. That is CEO, the amazing Dr. Kathy Amos, and her husband, Bishop Joe Amos. They are the founders and CEO of the Business Empowered Chamber of Commerce, which is a global chamber of commerce for Christian believers. Yes, indeed.
Okay. Okay, yeah, it looked like you were sticking there just for a second, but so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna close out on that note. Thank you again for joining, and thank you, Sandy, for being on the show. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday afternoon. Everyone else, enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon, and meet me here again next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, take care, everybody.
All right. And take care.